Hi, my name is Steffi Drucker, and this is my video editing statement for the fifth project in my multimedia reporting class, the audio story. So the goal of the project was to try and tell the story of a place using audio clips and still photos, and the place I chose to do my story on was Superdawg Drive-In, which actually happens to be my family's restaurant in Chicago. I spoke to Professor Johnson about this beforehand to make sure that it was okay to have a personal connection to the subject, so to speak. And he said it was, since in multimedia reporting there are often bloggers who are personally connected to the topic that they're covering. So I actually found that created kind of an interesting challenge for the assignment and taught me why it's actually better for journalists to be objective and not be connected to their topic. I found that it made it more difficult because it's my family's restaurant and I wanted the product to turn out really well. I was holding myself to a much higher standard, which is probably a good thing, right? I mean, it means that I'm going to end up with a better project in the end. But also, I think my goal was to try and tell the story of Superdawg and why it's special to different groups of people. Those groups being like employees, customers, those are the two primary groups anyway. And I think because I know the employees, since I've practically grown up with them, I felt more comfortable talking to them and kind of moving around in the kitchen rather than being out on the parking lot and talking to strangers. So I think I was able to kind of showcase why it's special to both sides. I talked to multiple customers and multiple employees that weren't all included in the project. And in the end, I included 3 people, 2 of which were employees, and 1 was a customer. So perhaps it's a little bit off balance, but I hope I did a decent job of trying to show why it's special to both sides. Another tricky thing is that at Superdawg there's a lot of different moving parts and lots of different sounds and sights to capture. And so this project really showed me how hard it is for one singular person with one camera and one audio recorder to try and capture a whole story by themselves. So that was another interesting challenge as well. Also, another challenge, I thought this project was a lot harder than some of our previous ones. I think because with, photos, I've done photography before, so I'm a little familiar with that. With the video project that we had prior to this, I've watched a lot of broadcast news packages, and so I kind of have an idea of how to shoot for the edits, so to speak, and how that final product should be put together. But I haven't really seen a lot of audio stories. I've listened to audio stories, but they don't usually have visuals that go with them, and so it was kind of harder for me to shoot for the edit, how to picture how it was all going to come together while I was actually gathering my photos and audio. And then even while I was editing, it was kind of hard to try and put the story together in a way that made sense. But overall, I'm really happy with how the final project turned out, and it was definitely an interesting experience. I like that the audio story really forces you to think about sounds more. I think that's really interesting, trying to tell a story. With this project we did have visuals, but I think with radio stories, for example, it's really interesting to think about how to convey that scene and show, don't tell to people, but only using sounds. So looking forward to doing more stuff like this in the future.